This morning, we're talking about all that's happening on the political scene here in Tobago. And to have this conversation with me this morning, I have the privilege of sitting and chatting with Senator Ancil. Dennis, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Shenell. It's a pleasure to be here. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well.
Happy New Year to your listeners and viewers across Trinidad and Tobago and wherever else they may be at this point in time. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, and let's not forget you are also the political leader of
Yes.
the PNM Tobago Council. And so with that being said, we saw yesterday where two of the PNM candidates went to screening and were unopposed. What does that say about the current trajectory of the PNM and Tobago, as well as the relationships within the party and the confidence of the members to actually step forward and put themselves up for office, for election, as opposed to depending on two of the persons who have been in the parliament for the last 10 years?
Yeah. Well, it was Saturday actually that we had this screening. Of course, the PNM's process is open to all, anybody that is interested. Members of the party, even persons who are not members of the party in the past have managed to become members and be screened and went on to become candidates. So the process is open to all. Interested persons are required to submit a consent letter giving consent to be nominated by a party group or a unit of the party, which is the Women's League or the Youth League. And party groups will meet, they will conduct their process, and once people get a nomination, then they earn the right to be screened. Of course, these two magnificent young ladies have been members of parliament since 2015, and both of them have operated at the level of the cabinet since then as well. Shampa as a minister, and Ayana as a minister in the office of the Prime Minister. Both of them have done exceedingly well in their various responsibilities, and therefore it is no surprise to me that they went unopposed. Of course, normally at this level, people don't oppose for opposing's sake. They oppose for two reasons. If they feel that those who are there have not done enough, or if they feel they can do better. So I am not surprised that at this point in time that those two young ladies have distinguished themselves to the extent where deservingly they went through the process unopposed, and of course the screening committee had no problems in recommending them and endorsing them to once again represent the party at the next general election due this year.
All right. And are you confident in these two candidates going into the next general elections, especially when there are a number of conversations in the public domain regarding these two candidates particularly being very silent on a number of Tobago matters in the parliament?
Well, it depends on who is leading the conversations. And if you tell me that our opponents are leading those conversations, then that ought not to surprise anybody. They are doing what they believe is in their best interest. But when we look at the performance of these two MPs, let's take, for example, the MP for Tobago East. What has transpired in Tobago East from 2015 to now? Let me tell you, if you go up there now, you will see a new hospital, right? You will see a new police station, a new fire station, a new administrative complex. If you go to Tobago West, you will see a new airport under construction. You will also, if you travel to Trinidad via boat, you will recognize that there are two spanking new state-of-the-art fast ferries. And I want to say to the people of Tobago that those are the two MPs who sat in a cabinet and who sat in the parliament and made a case for the people of Tobago to benefit in that way from a central government. And I want to say as well that typically, the central government doesn't normally facilitate Tobago in this way, because you have a Tobago House of Assembly, of course, and you have the government of Trinidad and Tobago. And I want to say particularly to the people of Tobago that because we have currently, and we've had it for the last 9 years, a Prime Minister who is a Tobagonian, that Tobago situation was given specific focus. And therefore, if we consider all of that, I think we can only fairly conclude that those two MPs have done exceedingly well over the past 9 years. And I look forward to their continued representation and their continued growth and development and advancement of the needs of the people of Tobago. If I was to speak as well to the autonomy issue, I want to remind the people of Tobago as well that these two young ladies sat in the parliament, and they sat specifically in the Joint Select Committee when this issue came to the attention of the parliament in 2016. That is when the THA passed a bill, and we sent that bill to the cabinet, and the cabinet sent that bill unchanged to the parliament. And as part of the parliamentary procedures, a joint select committee comprising opposition members, government members, and independent members was established to treat specifically with these issues. And those two young ladies sat as part of that committee, along with other Tobagonians. Dr. Remy was there as well. And I think the current president of the Senate, Senator Nigel De Freitas, was also part of that committee. And they made the case, they put forward the arguments, they relied on the advice of experts. And coming out of that, we had a situation where two bills were drafted. And those bills to me represented a situation that would have advanced Tobago's interests significantly. Unfortunately, the bills weren't passed, as we saw recently, and I'm sure we'll get into that conversation later on. And notwithstanding the fact that the bills were not passed, I think those two MPs must be given the credit for the role that they played over the several years working on this specific issue, because it is and it was a hard piece of work to get this done and get it to this point.
Right. And when you look at it from a strategic perspective, Tobago then meaning during the last general election, and Tobago now and its political landscape has changed drastically. What do you say to the persons who says something different is needed, a different approach is needed, different faces are needed, a different conversation is needed, a different push towards having persons in the parliament whose agenda is particularly to advance the cause of Tobago as opposed to advancing the cause of their party? Well, in that the argument has been there for a number of years that when there are independent persons in the parliament who represent Tobago, more is done for Tobago. Well, how do you respond to that?
That is foolish old talk, I will say, because I just explained to you a lengthy list of benefits that came to the people of Tobago as a result of having two PNM MPs in a Tobago, in a cabinet led by a Tobagonian, and the benefits cannot be denied. I'm saying if you journey from Crown Point to Charlottesville, the benefits that came to the people of Tobago as a result of that arrangement cannot be denied. So to talk now about having independent voices in the parliament, what will independent voices benefit us? They could go in the parliament and they could rant and rave and misbehave and ask all kinds of unreasonable things. It is in a government where you get things done. This airport that Tobago is now benefiting from, that is under construction, the possibility of a Sandal, the Marriott, the two fast ferries, that didn't come as a result of people going to parliament, speaking independently and ranting and raving and misbehaving and cussing out everybody in the parliament. Nothing gets done that way. You get work done in the government, making serious decisions about how you're going to spend money. And money is always limited, by the way, because every ministry will go there and ask for more than what is available. And therefore, decisions have to be made. And as part of the decision-making process over the last 9 years, Tobago received special treatment and specific emphasis. And that is why we are in this position today. I will say this as well, for the people who wanted something different. We have something different in the Tobago House of Assembly at this time. People went in December 2021 and they voted for the vision of Watson Duke at the point in time. He was the leader. Farley Augustine became the chief secretary. What was the difference that was promised? Tobago first, right? Permanent employment for even TRHA workers, and a host of other promises. The question has to be asked, how has that benefited the people of Tobago today? Maybe that's a discussion we will get into, but I want to place that question on the table. How did that decision about wanting more and wanting change and wanting something different and something new, how has that benefited us here in Tobago from then to now?
Good question. Guys, we're going to take a quick break right here and we're going to be back right after this. See you soon.